Welcome to the exciting rebirth of Superstar, featuring choose your membership rate as low as just $3 a month. At Superstar, you get expanded, exclusive video scopes each and every week, unlimited access to special horoscopes, class passes for Synchronicity University, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space. I look forward to meeting you there. Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of August 7, 2022. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological week, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. Of course, the very big news, the star of the show, really is the full moon that takes place this week in the sign of Aquarius. That full moon will perfect either late Thursday in the Americas or on Friday in the rest of the world. And there are a few very notable things about this full moon, mainly the way in which it activates the Saturn-Uranus square. Now, if you think back, 2021 was defined by this energy. Saturn is currently in its ancient ruling sign of Aquarius. And it is Uranus that is the modern ruling planet of Aquarius. Now, I have been telling you, I know I love talking about how we are on the precipice of this full emergence into the age of Aquarius, or immersion is probably a better way to put it. This real sense of us being fully in a new age. We have been transitioning into the age of Aquarius since the late 1770s. And I will link to my exploration of that below. But it is and has been 2021, 2022, this major time of transition into this new age. And I feel like on a more personal level, whatever was taking place for you in 2021, wherever it was that it felt as if there was tension between an older part of you and the part of you that you desire to be, some new, more liberated, more authentic part of you, the part of you that wanted stability and for things to feel as if they can be consistent, and the part of you that wanted to shake things up, go a whole new way, even if you didn't know where that would lead. Well, if that energy was there in any area of life for you, as it was for most people out there, all of that is going to stir now under a sky like this and under the light of this full moon. Collectively as well, what does it mean to step into a brand new age? What could that look like? The glimpse into that is going to feel very strong under the light of the full moon late this week as well. But there's a difference now. One of the differences is that Saturn and Uranus are not aligning with precision. They're close enough so that they are what astrologers call within orb, meaning that they are close enough in their conversation that they are exchanging energies, even if that connection is not precise. But then you add the full moon to the mix, bringing so much emotion. And that full moon, close in the sky to Saturn, is connecting with Uranus with precision. And this is going to stir all the emotion, all the resistance, all the desire, all the sense of what it is that we want to be different, and we just can't wait anymore. And we're scared to let go of the past. We don't know what the future might be, and yet we know that we are all in. All of that is going to stir under the light of this full moon. And then there's an additional layer to keep in mind as well, and that is Mars. This time, Mars is in the mix. And Mars is continuing to hang out close in the sky with Uranus through this week, and is this week going to connect with precision with Saturn. And all of that does suggest that there's this sense now where the frustration of what we want to be different is heightened, but so is a desire to own and harness our own individual power. Right now, I'm working on the Mars retrograde special horoscopes, and I hope to have that up for you before the month is out. And really, it is going to be at the beginning of September that Mars is going to go into shadow. Before this month is over, Mars is going to move into the sign where he will eventually go retro and be for an extended period of time. So there's lots to talk about there. But just before Mars does change signs and then moves into shadow, it's like in some ways we are having a depth of understanding of Mars in new ways. The more impulsive side of Mars, with Mars so close in the sky, with Uranus, could be highlighted at a time like this. I always think of Mars as deeply connected to the serenity affirmation, which is grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. In at least one area of life, whenever Mars changes signs, we are asked to practice the serenity affirmation in a new way and in a new area of life. Well, here comes Mars. So close now to Uranus, connecting with Saturn in a square formation with precision. That square is going to happen right out of the gate at the beginning of the week. So I feel like a lot of that energy, that tension is going to feel very high, but there's also going to be a sense of limitation as well. As much as Mars is about owning your power, it's also the wisdom to realize where you don't have power. And that can be hard. That can be a difficult realization to have, because there are times when we really wish to have that power, where we really wish we could affect change, but our ability to do so is limited depending on where we are focusing that desire. And so that distinction of the limits of our power, but mainly where we feel like we can't exercise agency as fully as we may like right now in the moment, may feel especially strong as we begin the week. And yet it's exactly that's necessary to reach that point of breakthrough that the full moon promises. That full moon brings with it heightened individuality. You know, Aquarius is such an interesting energy because it features such a strong dichotomy. It is, on the one hand, a sign of the collective. We focus a lot on that with Aquarius, but it's also hyper individualistic. It's about acknowledging that each of us is special, and therefore none of us is truly special, because we're each special. And that if we can live according to our own personal truth, we're going to grant other people the ability to do the same. And that's part of asserting the individuality of the Aquarian energy. So we have this full moon happening. And I think in at least one area of life, all of us are feeling ready for change, ready for a breakthrough, ready for freedom. And it could come very quickly. Exactly where we feel resistance and uncertainty as we're starting the week is where that tension very likely is going to rise under the light of the full moon before the leap forward, before the breakthrough. And so what indicates the leap forward? It has to do with Uranus. When we look at celestial conversations playing out at any given time, you want to look at, in any celestial conversation, which is the dominant planet here, which is the dominant energy. And according to ancients, the further out, the further far away from us a planet was, and the slower moving it was, the more dominant it is in a given conversation. And we can see this play out in all kinds of ways, but we see this with transits in particular. The matchup between Saturn and Uranus. Uranus moves slower than Saturn. Uranus is further from the Earth and further from the Sun than Saturn. And what that means is, in a matchup between Saturn and Uranus, Uranus always wins. I would go so far as to say, yes, always wins. It ends up being the case that Saturn is receiving the energy of Uranus in a way that doesn't necessarily happen the other way around. And so, Saturn right now, close in the sky to this full moon. And here comes that Uranus square. When you see a square, which is a conversation of tension, it means activity. It means something's got to happen, something's got to give. And with Uranus, that something comes on very quickly. I think of Uranus as ripping off a Band-Aid. That's the kind of energy we're dealing with here. And what that means is the realization comes that this particular wound is healed, or this covering has served its purpose. I think covering is even a better way to put it, because it's as if we've covered up some part of ourselves, perhaps a more vulnerable part of ourselves. And that's just not going to work for us anymore. And very quickly, we rip that covering off. We get to some truth about ourselves. And that truth ultimately is authenticity. I recently shared something. I hope that you guys follow me online, particularly on Instagram. That's where I'm most active, although I'm starting to get more active in other online platforms as well. But I shared recently a meme that I saw, and I'll put it up here somewhere. And it basically says, like, really the most badass, revolutionary thing you can do, the most spiritual thing you can do is be yourself. I think that what it means to be yourself is something that is constantly evolving. Something that is, if you are living a life aware and engaged with your lessons, wanting to grow as a person, wanting to evolve, and especially where you're doing it consciously, of course there's going to be change. And of course, being yourself and what yourself means is going to go through different definitions, depending on the phase of life, your priorities at the time, but also all that you learn about yourself along the way as you move through life. And so here we are. It truly is a leap forward, whether that's a leap of consciousness, whether that's a leap of understanding, whether that's a leap of self, whether that's dramatic changes in our lives. It's like this is energy that we are ready for. And a lot of us may not even realize that we're ready until the moment comes, until the realization comes, and that ripping off a Band-Aid moment, just that second before, we didn't even realize we were ready to rip off that Band-Aid until we were and until we did. And so in some way or another, all of us are leaping into a future that may feel uncertain, but also feels really exciting as well. Keep in mind, this is a full moon, which means the moon is standing across the sky from the sun. Uranus is speaking with precision with both the moon and the sun, which means T-square. That's even more tension, but that's even more promise of breakthrough, even more promise of things changing very quickly, of some truth coming to light, whether that's a truth about ourselves or about some external person, place, thing, or situation. It may shake up our world, perhaps only for a millisecond, before we're ready to leap forward. We're ready to have a new understanding. And we're ready to leap upwards in our lives as well, towards the new and the next, and something that feels more in alignment with whom it is we truly are. And that really makes any tension worth it. That truly makes this time so much more exciting. Now, I want to be sure to talk about Venus this week as well. As we begin the week, Venus is going to speak in supreme harmony with Neptune. So this is very much the love of the mystic energy here. This is blissful love. And I have seen this energy work out in all kinds of ways, but I will say chances are as we begin the week, music can feel very powerful to a lot of us out there. In particular, I would say the water signs are going to feel stirred by music that much more deeply, although that is sort of a tendency of water signs anyways. We've all had moments when music moves us to the core. You know, I recently had a chance to speak with some of the amazing speakers we have coming up at Synchronicity University this September. And I'm really excited by sharing those interviews with you guys as well. But what is so fascinating about one thing that Quan Tracy Cherry said and shared, he was talking about music and how music really is one of those things where you can't imagine life without it. And I remember as a little girl, you watch these kids programs. In Canada, we have a program called the Polka Dot Door. I don't know if it's still around, but I grew up watching the Polka Dot Door. And anyways, there's this demonstration that you see sometimes in these children's programs where you see people who maybe cannot hear, right? Whether you call it hard of hearing or however you understand that. And yet they can feel the vibration of music. It reaches such a deep part of us that it isn't the superficiality of sound that we respond to, but it's vibration, and we are vibration as well. And I think that's why when we look at ancient traditions and religions, really so many religions, one of the first things they say in their sacred books is that the world began with sound, that it was sound that was necessary, a necessary condition in order for creation to follow. The seed of creation is sound and vibration itself. We see this with Om, the sound Om. In the beginning, there was the word, and so on. And so here we have this beautiful energy of Venus and Neptune. And I was looking at this and thinking, how might this be vibration that feels so beautiful, that reminds us of the truly mystical beauty that we all are, that we can all embrace, that we all own. That is so hard for some people to really root their understanding of their lovability in soul, in spirit. That can be a challenge, and yet that really is where the power lies. It's when we go to that superficiality that we limit ourselves that much more. Now, there's nothing wrong with enjoying the physical incarnation. Don't get me wrong. Have fun, have at it. If you watch me for a while, you know I do love it. I love to play with clothes and makeup and all that stuff. But there is a deeper significance, a deeper understanding where true beauty itself lies and true love itself lies. And that is in a realm that is mystical, where the mystics have tried to articulate and understand what that is. And it is in that realm that the soul is changed by love. The soul is changed by beauty. And that is the promise as we begin the week. Very quickly, though, as we navigate a few days forward, we are going to have Venus stand across the sky from Pluto. This is remarkable energy, I have to say. Once a year, Venus opposes Pluto in the sky. And this is a very powerful moment. It could be a moment of attraction that feels inconvenient, that feels messy in some way. It could be a moment of interaction as well that feels faded or messy. And yet, for all that, underneath it, there is some truth that is there. And the truth is ultimately designed to help us to understand ourselves more fully. What is it that the heart truly wants? That is the overriding blessing and question of Venus with a week like this. What do you really want? To feel connected and appreciated on that level of love, on that level of being able to look at yourself and recognize your unique beauty. Can you put superficial judgments aside and just allow? It's a very powerful thing to allow. The Venus-Pluto opposition will perfect on Tuesday, so you do want to be on the lookout for that energy building in that very first days of this week, and it can serve as a turning point moment. In some cases, where it is that you are in a relationship or alignment where you feel that there are factors there that aren't fair, that aren't healthy, that are getting way too messy, this is your reality check moment. Whereas at the beginning of the week, it's very easy to kid ourselves on hope and on fantasy. And fantasy is necessary as part of love because it invites us to consider how, without hope, we would never allow ourselves to love deeply to begin with, because love can get messy. And we may see the range of that at the very beginning and first days of this week. But it is that Venus opposite Pluto that serves as a reality check. If the balance of power isn't right, isn't fair, if you feel not valued, or even in extreme cases, if you realize that this isn't just not healthy, but maybe there are elements there that are unfair and abusive, well, this is that reality check moment. It isn't about forgiveness and hope and seeing potential in people that we may see at the very beginning of the week. It's about acknowledging what actually is, reaching a turning point moment. And I think this actually may be part of what facilitates, sets the stage for the big breakthroughs of the full moon in Aquarius. Keep in mind, Aquarius is a fixed sign, and fixed signs are very interested in authenticity, among other things, but they're also interested in what is it that lasts? What is it that stays for the long haul or doesn't? What is consistent? They're interested in looking at things as they actually are. And in that truth about how things actually are and where we actually are in our lives, who we actually are, that's where the promise of breakthrough is there. Being willing to acknowledge our inherent worth. Being willing to see how living authentically means choosing loving interactions within ourselves, but also, yes, in our lives as well, having people around us who value us, who respect us. That may be part of the breakthrough that we are about to have. Where we don't have that, that just isn't going to work for us anymore. But first, we have to acknowledge the reality of a situation, especially love-related situations, could reach an important turning point in the first days of the week. Now, on Thursday, Venus will change signs and move into a fixed sign as well, the sign of Leo. And this is where love comes to heart. And love also becomes focused on self. You get a chance to really bring love and shine love forward from a very honest place within you. And all of us get a chance to really declare our love in some way. And my hope is that where love is declared towards the self, it can bring that much more peace, grow that much stronger. What I love about this week for us, well, there's so much here. It's a valuable and important astrological moment without a doubt. Wow, what an incredible week we have. This full moon is a game changer, I'll tell you. It is truth. It is insight into ourselves, but into others as well. Yes, I said Aquarius is the sign of hyper individualism, but it's also the sign of the collective. And understanding our role within the collective, understanding our larger connections to others can be part of the breakthroughs that we experience now. This can also be one of those moments that brings with it deep insight, love, understanding. But it's a love that comes from self-acceptance, acknowledging the truth, realizing what structures, what patterns have served their purpose, so that now we can move into our future. A future that may feel for some like a leap in consciousness. For others, it can be that your life shakes up, looks very different in an instant. And yet it is aligning you with authenticity. It is aligning you with the spiritual life of living and being fully yourself in this lifetime. Well, thank you so much for watching. What do you love about this week? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading you guys. And to prove it to you, here are some of my most recent favorite comments. Thank you to everybody who likes, who comments, who subscribes, who shares, who thumbs up. All of it means so much. I'm so grateful for it. And of course, if you want to know how all this wonderful stuff this week speaks to you in your sign, log on to NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, where you get expanded, exclusive video scopes each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month with choose your membership rate. Higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space. I look forward to meeting you there at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Link is in the description below. A very important announcement. This week will bring a pre-anniversary sale. And so I am not going to be here, like here meaning Canada, home base, September 1st, when I always have my anniversary sale. And anniversary sale, September 1st, is what a lot of people I know look forward to. And I love you guys so much for it, because it really is the biggest discounts of the year. And in some cases, certain things are discounted that otherwise are never discounted. And it's a 24-hour sale. Well, the thing is, I want to make sure that books get shipped out to you. Books are here. I have received a whole bunch of books, and so they're ready to ship. And basically this week, there is going to be a 24-hour pre-anniversary book sale that is going to offer all kinds of special gifts and discounts where it comes to the books that I have, published books. You get signed copies, and again, lots of free gifts with those books that you purchase. And so thank you. Thank you to everybody who loves my work, who appreciates my work. I wanted to be sure to let you know. The notifications will go out on social media. They'll go out through my newsletter. And so I hope that you will be in touch and get a copy and get all kinds of free gifts, and know that those books will be shipped out. They're ready to go. They'll be shipped out before the month is over. Synchronicity University presents an incredible September 2022 season. Oh my goodness, we've got brilliant teachers, exciting big dogs, and truly wonderful classes coming up for you. There's so much to talk about here. Let me start with my friend, Ursula Stockder. She is an accomplished and world-recognized Jungian analyst, so brilliant, and someone who has a depth of understanding of the tarot and astrology from a Jungian perspective that I think is going to make her class incredibly valuable. It truly is an experience to learn from Ursula. She taught a two-part class before last year at Synchronicity University, and now she's back, and I think that this is so exciting. Ursula now is going to help us to understand each of the tarot cards with greater depth, to understand how the tarot speaks to your unconscious, is a dialogue with the unconscious, and to cultivate a relationship, a personal relationship with your tarot deck as a tool of Jungian understanding. And so Carl Jung did a lot of insight and tests and studying and writing on tarot. And then other writers as well, other Jungian analysts as well, picked up on that and have contributed to this psychological, spiritual understanding of tarot, of divination. And it is within this school, within this understanding, that Ursula is going to bring her brilliance and her love. So you can see as I'm talking that there's lots of topics she's going to be covering over a 5-week course. And of course, for a very limited time, just a few weeks left to choose your tuition rate, as low as just $5 a class, an unheard of rate to learn from Ursula, that's for sure. But to learn this topic as well, to go on this 5-week journey with Ursula, I think it's going to be so rewarding for so many friends and fans out there. And so, yes, learn more at synchronicityuniversity.com, and you can sign up now. Link is in the description below. Synchronicity University presents an incredible September 2022 speaker series. For a very limited time, you can choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class to learn from this brilliant cohort that we are going to have this September as part of Synchronicity University Speaker Series. I love the speaker series because I feel like it really gets you an opportunity and gives teachers an opportunity to really showcase their talents and to bring together astrologers who are big dogs, but also astrologers who are future big dogs, and puts them on the same stage, on the same playing field. And that is part of what I'm so proud of here. I love giving other astrologers opportunity, but also when we get these big dog astrologers coming to my school as well, it makes me so proud to be able to offer them at such an inclusive and accessible rate as low as just $5 a class. And so who do we have? Well, look, we have the one and only Colin Bedell of Queer Cosmos, this phenomenon online. And he is really about relational astrology, understanding relationships and bringing heart to the mix, which I think is such a powerful thing that he does. And he does it so eloquently, so beautifully. So it's no surprise that he is so huge online. And I'm so happy to have him back at Synchronicity University. We're going to have my friend Helene from Heart House Astrology. Helene, her astrology is called Heart House, and it makes so much sense. She brings so much love and heart to her astrological practice as well. And she is going to be teaching on Uranus. So I think this is going to be really exciting to learn more about Uranus from her perspective and from that perspective of heart. My friend Yuridia Robles is going to be back. Yuridia and I wrote a book together on Mayan astrology. Now, what you may not know is that she's also this widely recognized expert on the part of fortune. It's so perfect that she's going to be teaching on the part of fortune here because she's lectured on it all over the world. And so this is going to be an opportunity to understand the part of fortune differently with greater depth, its relationship to the part of spirit, and so much more as only Yuridia can teach. You know, you've seen her on my channel a lot. I love her so much. She is one of the people that I consider my astrologer. There are very few people who've really dived into my chart with me, and she is one of them. She's just that good. I mentioned Quan Tracy Cherry. He is just so brilliant, so loving, and he's going to look at the raw material, this new understanding of how to look at the signs to understand your chart with greater depth, but also the journey that we go on as we move through a season, as we move through a year. And so he really is bringing this new understanding, this rigor, this contribution to astrology that I think is just so special. He does have an academic background. He's a lawyer by trade. He used to practice law, and now he's all in with astrology. And it is just such a beautiful thing to see him bring his brilliance and his insights to an exploration, a whole new way of understanding the chart. And my friend Nicole Garceau, fellow Canadian Nicole Garceau, she is going to be coming to Synchronicity University Speaker Series as well. And she's all about those real practical tools that you can use right away. And she's going to be exploring a degree theory where she's going to take you to each of the degrees. So from 0 to 29, each degree means something. So it's one thing to have a planet in a sign in a house, but what degree is that planet in? Is it 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree? She's going to go through that. Each degree has a signification. And this is a very immediate way to immediately apply that part of astrology that also involves prediction so that you can really understand the chart with this whole new depth. Again, you'll be able to apply the skills she teaches you right away. She's a very popular teacher with us at Synchronicity University. So I'm so excited to have such an incredible cohort with us for the September 2022 speaker series. Choose your tuition rate on for just a couple weeks more. You can sign up for as low as just $5 a class at synchronicityuniversity.com. Link is in the description below. And my friend Achyuta Bhava Das is back at Synchronicity University. I'm so excited to present this caliber of astrologer, YouTube phenomenon, nightlight astrology, caliber of astrologer teaching as low as just $5 a class for a very limited time. This really is an unheard of rate to learn from the likes of Achyuta Bhava Das. And he's going to be teaching us the mystical roots of traditional astrology. He really is so brilliant. He has such a depth of knowledge of traditional astrology, but then he also brings that mystical side that is so powerful. He merges it together as only he can. And so it is going to be Achyuta Bhava Das's class that starts really soon, actually. It starts September 1st. So even before Labor Day, you are jumping in, learning about the mystical roots of traditional astrology, ancient astrology. And he's going to take you through sign, houses, planets. So this really is information that you'll be able to apply right away to see your chart differently, to see your chart with a greater depth of understanding. Don't miss this chance to learn from Achyuta Bhava Das at this unheard of rate of just $5 a class. Just a couple of weeks left to take advantage of that. I hope that you'll join us. I think it's going to be so insightful, so spiritual, and so much fun as well. At synchronicityuniversity.com. Link is in the description below. And I am coming to Denver as part of the ISAR 2022.org conference. And I'm so excited to meet friends and fans in person. I won't have time to do consultations, but I will have time to meet and hug. I'll be teaching 2 classes and be part of the conference as well. And so I hope that if you are in the area and you'd like to join, it would be wonderful to meet you there at the ISAR2022.org conference. Now, if you can't join live, or even if you do join live, know that I have a workshop coming up. It is the definitive Lilith workshop with isarastrology.org. So I will link to that below and the conference below as well. And so you can actually take this half-day workshop with me where we are going to go through the myth, the signs, the houses, the aspects of Lilith. It is going to be this powering through a whole new understanding of Lilith with greater depth. So I hope that you will join us, and I hope that you love that online workshop as well. So whether you join me in person, whether you join online, or both, it would be wonderful to have a moment with friends and fans out there. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.